Are you in the middle of a very long wait? Or what seems like a very long wait? Maybe you're waiting for true love to find you, or a child to come home, or perhaps um, to get your perfect job, or for a dream to come true. Maybe you're waiting to have your first child. Well, I am very familiar with waiting. And this is Vashti coming to you from Vashti's house with a mom talk. I'm literally on my way to the nursery right now to get myself some plants. Why is from my house for Vashti's house? I've had to wait a long time for many things. When I was a child and my mom left, even before my mom left, I would just remember being in the house with my siblings. My dad was in the Vietnam War, and so he was out of state, and my mom was very depressed. She was detached. I just remember she was like a figure just around the house. I don't remember her connecting with me or me connecting her, but we did live in Idaho. We had some property attached to our very dilapidated house, and we had animals there, and I just remember being outside. I don't remember connecting with my mother at all. And then when I was 6 years old, my mom left, and she divorced my dad, and I always felt detached, and later my dad remarried, and my dad got custody of us, remarried, and then my second mom was found to have cancer literally 3 months after they got married. And so all of the years that they were married were her battling cancer, and also, just struggling with being a stepmom. I always felt out of place. But I remember when I was young, before my mom left, she would drop us off at a lot of people's house. But these one people's house we were at, they had a door that they didn't use, and this door that they didn't use was attached, in front of it was just a linoleum slab. And I remember sitting in that linoleum slab, imagining that that it was mine, and I could do whatever I wanted in this, and I was free. And then later, when my dad remarried and I lived with him and my stepmom before she died, I didn't feel comfortable in the house. I felt very out of place in the house and around people. And so I made a teepee out in our backyard, and I pretended like I was a Native American, and I lived in that teepee as much as I could. I mean, obviously I slept in the house and had to go in for meals, but other than that, I just tried to be outside and try to make that a space for myself. Well, the need to have my own place never became, after college and living in some dorms and, sharing apartments with people, whatever, it never became more urgent for me to have a place of my own until I got married and had kids. And I didn't want my kids to grow up in this chaotic cycle like I did. I really wanted I wanted to have a nice home that I could raise them in, that we could plant roots and have stability for them. That was my desire. And it didn't happen. My husband and I ended up moving a lot. He ended up moving jobs a lot. We were always in rentals. My kids were raised in rentals. I mean, even sometimes in the worst rental conditions, the worst. And I was heartbroken. I was distraught. It literally was such an internal battle for me. And I did not get our first home until we moved to Vashti's house with the red door. And I was in my 40s, my mid 40s, and my kids were already graduating from high school. And I waited for a home, my own home, for 40 years. We have a daughter that she's an adopted daughter, and she was estranged from this family for like 27 years before she came back home. 27 years. When I first started Vashti, it was Vashti's house. It was in the 2020s, and it was based upon this product I had done, and it just boomed and grew very, very quickly. But my husband and I were immature. We just didn't know stuff, and we got involved with an advertising agency that overcharged us and kind of wanted to take over the business because they saw the value in it. Anyway, we got an attorney, and they said, just dissolve the business. It's not worth fighting. The amount of money that you're going to have to fight this and with an attorney, it's not worth it. Just dissolve the company and pick it back up after, the time has lapsed, which would be a decade. That we could dissolve the company and not have to pay all these overages that we didn't agree to, that we would have to fight. And so we did that, and we thought 10 years is such a long time after this momentum, after everything we've done, and we were just so upset about it. but we didn't have a choice. And so we signed the contracts. We dissolved the company. That was more than 25 years ago. We waited literally for 20 more years before we started Vashti's House up again, and we didn't even have the same momentum. I mean, it's still just barely squeaking by. So I want to talk to everybody here who is in the middle of a wait, a long wait, a short wait, a painful wait, a wait that maybe is bringing a lot of grief into your life and maybe hijacking your emotions and your mental energy thinking about things. I know about that wait. I've been in that wait for a long time, and it is a very difficult place to be. But here's what I want to tell you in that wait. I can't tell you what's going to come of that wait. I can't tell you if your wildest dreams are going to come true. Some of them have, and some of them haven't. And I've had to wait a long time for things, and I'm still waiting for certain things. That's been well over decades that I'm waiting for. Important things that are valid that I should want. So I can't tell you what's going to be the end of your wait, but here's what I can tell you. During the long waits that I've had, I have gained things that I did not know that I was also waiting for. I gained things that I didn't know that I needed. Things that I did not know that I have, that I needed or that I would need to have. And so in the end, like for example, waiting for 40 years to have my own home, my own place. Guess what I learned in all those years of waiting? Is that your home, your dwelling place is actually inside of you. That's what I had to resign myself to, is learning how, because I didn't know if I'd ever have my own home. And I had to teach my kids that to make beauty inside of them, to create peace and tranquility and predictability inside of them, because I just didn't know if we would ever get our own home, if we would ever be in a situation that was peaceful and aesthetic. So I gained what the whole Vashti's House business is built upon, which is you can build a home inside yourself. You can decorate your internal self with joy and peace and gratitude. You can find beauty anywhere. You can create internal peace. And that's what I ended up raising my kids on. Not this external thing, but the internal thing. And that has changed the trajectory of their life from what it would have been. And it's changed me. And so for that reason, and it's also good that I had to wait for Vashti's House, because I'm a different person. So you're actually gaining things in the wait that you didn't know that you needed, and that you didn't know that you would need to have for your future. The second thing is in the wait is do not lose hope. The reason, will you lose hope? Yes, you will. Will you have periods of time of complete doubt and distress? Of course. I have had many times where I was just completely overcome with doubt. Like I no longer believed. I'd lost all hope. And I've definitely had those seasons, and they will come. But at the end of the day, choose hope. The reason it is just whether it actually happens or not is irrelevant, but choosing hope is actually the healthier option. It is the more holistic option. It's the option that is going to bring more wellness and healing into your life. So just choose hope. This is Vashti coming to you from Vashti's House. Hope you're having a great day, and make yourself at home.